Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering a new show that just debuted on OWN. It's called Heart and Hustle Houston. And it's an ensemble show, a group of women that are entrepreneurs that are coming together and they are doing their thing. They have 6 cast members. I watched it last night and I think I like it. But before we get into that, thank you for coming. Like this video, subscribe, and leave your comments below. Now let's get into this, a recap review. Yes, just as I was saying, I liked it. I think they had a cool premiere. They had just a little bit of mess and a little bit of intrigue to want to get to know these women. I'm glad that we are moving beyond shows in Atlanta. They got 75,000 shows based in Atlanta. Nobody else has anything else going on in the world but Atlanta. Why? And in most of those cases, a lot of them jokers are just faking it till they make it. Yes, I said it. Y'all can run and tell that. Y'all faking it till they make it, and some still ain't making it. So, we have Chloe Cook. She is a successful wedding and event planner. Manira Page, she's an electrical engineer, and I think one of the few black women engineers out there. Elena Salisbury, she has her own makeup entrepreneurship, like she does different celebrities makeup and all that good stuff. Labrina Jackson, she has this spa called the Escape Spa. Roseanne, aka Ro Pichardo, she's a general manager, consultant for nightclubs and restaurants. And Latoya Lemon, she's an award-winning publicist. We begin this episode with Latoya. She is having a soft launch of a restaurant / lounge bar and grill that she's opening up called Rain HTX. Rain Houston. HTX is the abbreviation for Houston. And she's inviting the ladies over to just taste out the food, all that good stuff. Latoya is a partner in the business. She thought when one of the co-partner was coming to her was to just be the publicist. But he said, no, I want you to invest in this and just be in the partner and all that. She couldn't see the vision at first. And also, it was like, can this really make sense as far as a CENTS and carry the one? But anyways, however, she stretched her faith and now Rain HTX is open. It really looks beautiful in there. Hopefully you guys did watch the show. It's very decorative. I think Chloe ended up saying, I know that you're just not putting your name to it. You can tell that you really got deep into it with the other people as far as the business, because we know that you like purple and all that good stuff. So yeah. So the ladies sit down, getting appetizers and all that good stuff, and they ask Elena, what's going on with her, because they notice that she doesn't have her wedding ring. She says that her wedding ring is silver and it doesn't really match her outfit. And everybody around them was like, nah, we're gonna wear this jewelry as far as a ring. That means something to me. I'm not gonna be caught without it, and not my spouse. Chloe was going on about it, but we soon to find out that there's a lot more to it than what Elena was letting on. And we find out that her and her husband are having some marital issues. Her husband's name is Joshua. They have been married for 21 years. They met her junior year in high school and his senior year in high school. And since then, that's the only person that she's been with. Chloe says, I think that's boring. And then they were like, what do you mean? Well, you've only been with this person your whole life, basically, a good portion of your life. And you haven't really gotten to test the waters out. And they was like, what, you think she's supposed to cheat? Like, no, not that, blah, 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 blah. Possibly they could have just waited before getting married or whatever, But she just said, you should have encountered more men before actually settling down. That's what I get from. Get from what she was trying to actually say. It's just not coming out right. At this point, her and Josh are taking a breather, and Chloe said, so y'all breaking up? Like, no. Well, y'all gotta say something. Just leaving it open like that for people to interpret it any type of way is not good. Say something. So they sleep in separate rooms. Elena feels like Chloe is being this dog, just kip, 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 being a chihuahua towards her in all of these questions. However, when we start unfolding Elena throughout this episode, I can't say I'm completely mad at Chloe at the questions she was asking. And finding out more about Elena and how she operates, I think most of the questions she asked and the comments she asked were really valid. Then, is it now? Yeah, they sleep in separate rooms. They're not connecting. The question was asked by someone, are you outgrowing him? She feels like she's not, even though I think you are. And Chloe said that you're a baddie, you know, and I think you deserve more. And Elena says, well, Josh is fine. And Chloe said, no, he's not. I think where it got really disrespectful to me, and I get why Elena was mad at that, because even when Elena said, yes, he is, da-da-da-da-da, she still want to go back and forth. No, you don't do all that. Now, it was just kind of like, oh, why are you saying this, lady, to this woman like that? Now, I saw a picture of Josh, and he doesn't look bad or anything, but I think at the level that Elena's is, it's like, does he really compliment her? Maybe that's where Chloe was coming from. I don't know, but it was too much that you were doing. And I think that once the gates got open, you took it too far as what you were saying to her. But yeah, all them questions need to be asked, because Elena, we learn later on that she really puts up the shield and mask. So no, I thought I was going to be turned off by Chloe, but no, but she did go too far. I want to see how she is during the rest of the season, because I'm definitely not judging anybody by the first episode. Elena was like, oh, you need to see him without clothes. That's what you would equate to fineness, Elena? No. I would have shut it all down. At that point, like, no, I would have put Chloe in check. I don't care who's around. No. Chloe is dating a man who is 17 years younger, which is almost the same age as her eldest son. So, okay. So, Labrina, she feels like it's a cougar type of situation. I think kind of judgy-ish about the whole situation, in my opinion, but hey. Labrina was just going on as to what could it possibly be that you have in common with this man. It's already known that men are behind the curve as far as not excelling mentally over women, even in the same age bracket. So what could y'all have in common? It's got to be the deep. And she said, no, it's not. But she didn't explain what else it was, though. But I didn't really hear anybody really press her on that as she was pressing Elena, though. I'm just saying. They were like, he has more life to live to really understand even some of the stuff that you were going through, blah, 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 blah. I don't even know if he got a job. I don't think that was discussed at all. But I guess we can figure that out. It's just the first episode. So, again, I'm not putting much thought or criticism into this episode. And it looks like Ro is into younger men too. I wasn't catching that at first. I had to watch it again to really understand. Okay, so she likes dating younger men. I forgot who brought it up about black entrepreneurs. You know, me versus I think it was Labrina. She was talking about her escape spa versus what she has to those other corporate spa places. I forgot what she said, but anyways, she was like, you know, there are no second chances if we do it. As far as we can't mess up, is what she's saying. They excuse themselves, and then we go on to the next scene. Latoria invites Elena over, and they talk a little bit, you know, about how the restaurant, how did they like the soft launch, how she liked the soft launch and food, and then they get into some of the stuff that Chloe was saying, and, you know, are you okay? She's like, yeah, but I do think that Chloe was pushing a little bit too far and being disrespectful, da-da-da-da-da. And she doesn't understand why Chloe went so hard, because she's known Chloe the longest out of this whole group. Like, why would you do that? And then she's gonna say that she could never pull the caliber of men that I do. Like, I don't think that that's a read. Now, if you feel this way about your man, then you feel that way about your man. But I mean, Chloe's been around a little bit more and has had a lot more experience with men. Again, you married your high school sweetheart. And then, is he here? No, we're gonna find out a little bit later about Josh. Um, Elena says in her confessional that her and Josh have been in business together for 10 years. At this moment, she's wanted to separate business-wise from Josh to focus more on her career alone. And they're both trying to find their own identity outside of each other. He's been more, how she said, clinging towards her, but it's just like, It looks like they are at a place in life where whom they were is not who they are. And I mean both. Not just, she got her own thing going on, but I would say as a couple, they've changed and they've grown. Even though she says that she doesn't think that she's outgrown this person, you may have. He might have outgrown you too. You know? Latoya says, you know, even though as Elena is telling me things, as a woman, I can really pick up on the brokenness that within her, but I'm not going to press her on anything. I guess is opposing to what Chloe did. I think Chloe did her job. Sorry, for the most part. Everything wasn't top tier as far as her doing whatever, as far as asking the questions, but for the most part, I think she did her job as to getting Elena to open up. Latoya suggested, you know, I think y'all should get some bunk beds for your room. And of course, that was a little joking moment. Labrina, she is married to Will. He's was a former quarterback for the NFL. I don't know what team it was, I forgot. They've been together for over a decade and married for 2 years. They are hosting a couples night. I guess it's a vibe check night or whatever you want to call it. You can see the acres of land that she's on. She lives on a ranch, blah, 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 blah. Invited Elena and Joshua over, and also Marina and her husband, Norman, over. We find out more about Marina. Hopefully I'm saying her name right. They've been married for 11 years. She's a mother of 4. Well, their parents are 4, let me put it like that. Of course, we know about her being an electrician she was in that career or field for 20 years. She started to do both, the electrical work and content creating, but then it started to weigh on her body and it sent her to the hospital. She gave up the electrician job and now she's a full-time content creator. After all the couples get in and they just talk a little bit about marriage and what's the secret to marriage. It was brought up by someone, I forgot, about how to have a long-standing marriage is if y'all are in the middle of an argument, just get naked. I'm sure they're not going to argue then. I've seen some skits like that on IG where they just get naked and then the focus just leaves and they just focus on communing with each other. They go outside and I think Labrina was just asking Elena, you know, how are you for real? In so many words, you know. She basically says, you know, Elena, that they were both working on themselves. The sex is at a decline. And Labrina was like, ooh, how do you do that? Like, what's the solution for this decline in sex? And she just puts her head in the pavement or the ground and goes to work. So there is no really resolution to it, and y'all don't really talk about it. You're in separate rooms and all that good stuff. Everything that you have been pointing out, Elena, lets me know that your marriage is in trouble. And we're going to get into more later on. Elena, you got to peel in order to get her to get to the root and get to the truth of certain things. Let's see. I think it was Labrina. I forgot who. Maybe it was Marina. I think Marina said that, you know, because they started talking about different things they could use to get into sex more. And they were talking about the tantra stuff that couples use and all that. And I think it was Marina said, you know, I don't really need that stuff. I'm quite a hot chili pepper on my own. Next, we go to Chloe's household. We see her oldest son, Nico, along with 2 other siblings, look like girl siblings, Noah and Nolan. And they were having sibling fights. Nico, being the oldest one, was saying that one of them was eating a whole lot more than the other 2 and all that good stuff. So Chloe gets in there. She really wants to talk to Nico, but she's not really feeling Nico because Nico is very avoidant at this point. When Chloe comes around, he disappears. Just to back up a little bit, Nico is a child that she had when she was 20 years old. Noah and Nolan come from her marriage. She was with this guy for 7 years, got married, and 2 months later, he passed away. He had a massive heart attack, and that really rocked her world. Nico became Chloe's rock and became the responsible one in as far as the household. Not saying that she's irresponsible or whatever, but just became that type of figure to help her out with certain things. So at this point, Nico's avoiding her because he's been upset since knowing that Chloe is dating this younger man. And she's still trying to get him to come around, and he's just not really into it. And Chloe just is like, I really don't care what he feels. You know, I'm grown. I would say two things can be true at the same time. Chloe, you're grown. You can make your own decisions. However, some of your decisions, you have to think about how they will affect other people. That's the name of the game, especially in your type of setting. You have children that are attached to you. Possibly you don't have to think about that if you were single, like had no type of child responsibility that's attached to you, but it's there. And you can just go on and have the attitude of, I can do this, I can do that, all you want to. However, some people may feel a type of way. I can't say that Nico is wrong for how he feels. That's just how he feels about the situation. And I don't think that he has to get on board with it because you want him to, and because you want that in your life. I mean, we could start asking questions as to why you want to date younger men. You know, it's way too early to try to analyze anything, but just throwing something out there, are you dating younger men and due to what happened to your husband? Thinking that a younger person may not be as sickly? I don't know. But I guess we got to really know what's going on between you and Jordan. Okay, so Latoya invites Chloe over, and Ro too. Ro says that she basically quit this job at one of her clubs that she was working for with her best friend Rico. Rico's trying to keep her aboard or whatever, blah, 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 blah. They start talking about young men, that they like to date young and all that. Latoya is still thinking that this is a whole type of cougar type of situation. She's a sugar mama type thing, da-da-da-da-da. And Latoya used an analogy that I think that Chloe should be dating a crock pot versus an air fryer. I said, okay. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it per se. What is your intent? What is your motive in it? What do you really want to get out of it? Is the whole thing. And again, you still have two small children that you got to think about, Chloe. Your grown adult son, I think he still has the right to feel the way that he wants to feel. You know, whether it changed something or not, I don't know. But anyways, then it was suggested for Latoya to get back out there because I think she's divorced. Start dating a Nigerian. I said, Lord, all I could think about is Simon. Chloe said in her 20s that she dated a Nigerian, and he really showed her a lot of things, even though he was a scammer. But Chloe has assessed that all Latoya needs is just one man to crack her back, and she'll be good to go to get back out there in the dating field. Latoya calls Ro, aka rotation, the rotation of men that she got and all that good stuff. I think it's pretty cool within this group that you have some that are married, some that are single and dating and all that good stuff. You know, it could be a mixture. You could bump heads and all that. But then other people may be sizing up other people because I've been married this long, you ain't been married at all, or you're not married right now, or you only been married for 2 years, da 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 da. I don't know. But I think it's cool that they didn't mix it around this time. So we'll see what happens. Labrina, we go back out to her ranch. She has invited Elena over. Really, Labrina was just sensing that, or Elena just knew that Labrina knew, or Elena knew that Labrina knew that Elena wasn't telling the truth, per se, as to what's going on in her marriage. And Elena at this point is just feels comfortable stating more about what's going on. And now she's going to tell him. She explains that how she's been trained by her family is that appearance is everything. You put up this wall, this appearance and all that, that everything is fine, and not to show your weaknesses. And that's why she hasn't been open and all that good stuff to people. It's been 2 months since her and Josh had sex. Because at first she was like, ooh, but when we get together, it's so good. Like, but, man, that's too conflicting. You're trying to paint this picture that's not there. And everybody's seeing the cracks. And somehow you think that you're fooling someone and you're not. And I don't think that you have to fool anyone. But you're choosing to do that for whatever reason. And I know because it's how you were trained. You said that, da-da-da-da-da. But she says that they're not aligned. You know, even if they were in the same room, I wouldn't want them there because we're not aligned. Labrina opens up and she says, you know, with her relationship that she has with Will now is not what she had while he was in the league. And he was cheating on her like a dog. I have thoughts, but I'll just leave it because it's still the first episode. Because the first thing I'm like, so what? He retired and then now he wants to treat you right? In my opinion, that's what I thought first off, but I should have just kept it to myself. I'm just like, okay, I'm glad you got the prize now, Labrina. If you do, I hope you do got it. Because a leopard doesn't change his spots, retired or not. Sometimes. I mean, we're looking at another couple on the Housewives show, Charles and Angela. It seems like he's committed to her, despite what he was doing to her in the beginning of their relationship and marriage. So, hey. So Elena opens up and says that Josh cheated on her during their engagement. And she doesn't let anyone know because she doesn't want people to view her as weak as to going on with the wedding. I will say this for you, Elena. I think that was a sign right there. How you gonna propose to me and then cheat on me? You asked for my hand in marriage and you still want to cheat before we even say the vows? What's up with that? Elena did say that even though I'm being open with Labrina right now, there is still more that I'm not saying that is going on. Boom. So obviously there's a lot more, and maybe Chloe knew a lot more about what Elena was going through, and possibly that's why Elena feels the type of way, even though we haven't seen Chloe and Elena talk about anything as of yet. But hey, it's still way too early in the game. I again appreciate this episode. I appreciate this premiere. Hopefully my show, A Family Empire Houston, is not being thrown by the wayside because I think it was a very good show. Please, we can have some more Houston shows. Shoot. But yeah, y'all can tell me your thoughts about what's going on. I think Josh been cheating some more, but we shall see. We shall see. But like this video, subscribe. And until the next one, peace. Okay, I got one more thing to say that I did not say during my video. Elena, I think it's so ironic that you are in the beauty industry, you're a makeup artist, and you wear this mask that you've been trained to do. It's like, we know what makeup is. Makeup is supposed to enhance the looks of someone, but it can also be used as a mask to cover up stuff. And for whatever reason, God done put you in this industry. And it's showing that you have a mask up. That it's probably your season to let that down and be free of some things. Those are my thoughts. Peace.